Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to another episode of Pistons Talk podcast presented by FanDuel. In today's episode, what we'll be discussing, Austin Reaves intends to sign a new deal with the Los Angeles Lakers. How does this relate to the Detroit Pistons, Jalen Duren and restricted free agency, and much more? So, we're going to have a very fun, short little podcast episode today. But for you guys that didn't see, maybe you were at work, maybe you just have not been online today, completely understand. We all have lives. Los Angeles Lakers star Austin Reaves intends to sign a 4-year, $185 million maximum contract extension to return to the Lakers with a player option in the final season in 2029-2030. Sources tell ESPN. Reaves declined his 14.9 million player option for the new max deal. This was tweeted out by Shams Charania earlier this afternoon. So the Lakers intend to bring back Austin Reaves on a 4-year, $185 million new contract. Now, how does this relate to the Detroit Pistons? Now, there's another tweet from Shams Charania talking about the Reaves new contract. And it says Reaves was expected to receive free agent interest from multiple teams, such as Detroit, on a maximum level salary. So the Lakers stepped up on Wednesday to lock in their homegrown talent. Reaves went from undrafted to a two-way player to making the Lakers roster and now multiple lucrative deals in LA. Now, the thing about Austin Reaves, which is actually kind of funny, is during Cade's draft in 2021, the Pistons did have a second round pick and they were going to select Austin Reaves. He said, "Hey, I appreciate it, but I'd rather just go undrafted. I don't want to be a two-way guy." So he goes undrafted. Lakers pick him up. He gets converted to a standard contract. The rest is history. And I mean, there's a lot of things with him where people say, you should have went to Detroit. He's like, I'm good. Like I like where I'm at in LA. And I kind of think this is a power move by the Pistons, and I'll explain because the Reaves and Duran conversation connects. Okay, and I'll get there. Why I think this is kind of like a power move and kind of like a I try not to swear on these podcasts, but kind of like a mind fuck by Trajan Langdon and the Pistons front office is the Pistons has told the Lakers and Luca about a week ago, hey, we plan on re-signing Jalen Duren. Leave him alone. Like, stop it. The Pistons had interest in going after Austin Reaves, and the Lakers felt a lot of pressure to the point where they decided to get a deal done verbally with him today. Okay, so that's definitely mind games with the Detroit Pistons. Now, how does this relate to Jalen Duren? How it relates to Jalen Duren is the Lakers have had interest in Jalen Duren for a long time. Now, when they made a trade for Mark Williams, that was their second choice. They called the Detroit Pistons first to see if they were going to move off of Jalen Duren when JB Bickerstaff was first here with his first season with the Pistons, right? Pistons obviously said no. They go and trade for Mark Williams. They rescind the trade. And obviously, the Lakers have been looking for a starting caliber center on the roster. Right now, they have DeAndre Ayton, but I think they kind of want to get out of the DeAndre Ayton business. If you ask me, they're looking for someone a little bit younger that can grow with Luka Doncic and is athletic and catch lobs. I mean, that's Jalen Duren to a T. And how it kind of relates to Austin Reaves is there were some rumblings that if there was a deal to be made with Austin Reaves, Jalen Duren would be involved in it. And how he would be involved in it is it would have been a sign in trade where the Pistons sign Jalen Duren to a new contract, trade him to the Lakers, and they get Austin Reaves in return. Obviously, the Detroit Pistons want to bring Jalen Duren back. They want to re-sign him in restricted free agency. So this, like little rumors and rumblings that we were hearing, it was true. Obviously, because they decided to get Austin Reaves a new contract, making sure teams like the Pistons and others weren't going to target him. I also heard Atlanta was a team that was going to really pursue Austin Reaves hard in free agency. So, little power move by the Detroit Pistons to kind of force their hand, right? Because you never know. You never know. Trajan to me seems like a really good poker player. Doesn't really show his hand. Um, to me, I think it was kind of a bluff. I don't really think the Pistons were really going to go after Austin Reaves. Does he kind of fix your scoring issue? Your scoring issue, excuse me. Throat kind of closed up for a minute. Sure, but defensively, the guy's a cone. If the Lakers want to pay him $185 million over 4 years, go for it. I don't really know how Luka Doncic probably feels about that, of having a guy that could score 20 but give up 30. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we've seen Danish Jenkins absolutely just dog walk Austin Reaves. I mean, I guess LA, I guess. But, there was a little bit more intel about the Austin Reaves trade. And obviously, um, with players that have been in trade rumors, Mark Stein had heard Pistons began maneuvering to make a run at Austin Reaves before he committed to the Lakers. Maneuvers would have required trading Isaiah Stewart to LA. Now, the thing that we've kind of heard about Isaiah Stewart lately is that Stu has been on the trade block. He's in a lot of trade rumors. Now, do the Detroit Pistons move on from Isaiah Stewart? I'm not really entirely sure. I think a lot of the Pistons, like what they're trying to do right now, is they're trying to gauge the market of different packages and if they can possibly get these players. Like we just talked about a couple of days ago, that there was framework for Tyler Hero that involved Isaiah Stewart, Ron Holland, um, and I can't remember who else was involved. Duncan Robinson for Tyler Hero, right? That was kind of the framework to possibly get him. I think the Pistons are very active still in the trade market. I think that's the only market they'll really be that active in. I don't really foresee them being active uh, in any other market. Like I know free agency is coming up in a little bit. Um, I just really can't see them doing anything maybe outside of like a mid-level exception. And I don't even know like who you're really giving a mid-level exception. Like, are you saying like, hey, John Collins, come on down for MLE? Like, does John Collins take an MLE? I'm not entirely sure. Do you still target a Laker player? Maybe you look at a Rui Hachimura at power forward, but outside of that, I mean, we talked about Sandro from the Raptors. I know Wes is really big on him, of going after him because he's another power forward. But like you look at free agency, guys, a lot of the players that you guys had talked about, like CJ McCollum, he's going to sign a 1 year deal to stay in Atlanta. AL DeSumo is going to sign a multi-year deal over $100 million to stay with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Like free agency is going to be very bad. I think all the good players in free agency will either re-sign with their teams or they will be all gone on the first like 6 hours of free agency. That's why I see the Pistons being way more active in the trade market, and why we've seen Isaiah Stewart mentioned in Miami Heat trade rumors, why we've seen him mentioned to the Spurs, the Lakers, the Celtics. There was a report today that the Celtics are looking for a center and they would package Jaylen Brown in a potential trade for a center. I don't know if the Pistons would entertain Jaylen Brown because he is on a massive deal, but that's a secondary option. I mean, you can get to his salary. You would just have to relinquish and trade a lot of players. But I did want to update you guys on the Austin Reaves intel from Shams Charania and Mark Stein. I still see the Pistons being very aggressive. They're looking obviously for that secondary scoring option. Excuse me. I see a trade coming next week. From talking to people, a lot of people are anticipating the Pistons are going to be very active, and a trade will be coming within the next week or so. Whether that's Trey Murphy, we just talked about Jaylen Brown, Kyrie Irving has been mentioned as well. Don't know if the Mavs are still saying we're good, but did want to kind of update you guys on the Austin Reaves stuff. Um, and right before we kind of end the podcast with the Lakers, how does this kind of relate to Jalen Duren? Can they still go after Duren? Yes, they can, but this is where it kind of gets a little tricky for LA, right? The way the Lakers can get practical cap space is they would have to renounce the rights of LeBron James and he would be a free agent. Okay? Because LeBron has a huge cap hold on their books. I don't know what LeBron James' future holds. I don't know if he wants to sign maybe one more year in LA. I don't know if he wants to go back to Cleveland. I don't even know how that would work because Cleveland's in the second apron. They'd have to, move some sellers around. I think LeBron's a wild card in all this. It really depends on what he wants to do. Does he want to stay in California? Shit. Does he go play with Steph Curry for 1 year? I don't know. I've seen some people float that around. It's all dependent on LeBron. That's how the Lakers can practically or get practical cap space to generate a maximum spot. Again, most that they could offer during in restricted free agency would be 4 years, 177. But again, I don't really know what LeBron's going to do, and it's all dependent on him. Like after this Reeves deal, the only way they can um possibly generate a maximum spot is if they do renounce the rights to LeBron. And I don't know if they'll do that. I don't. The Lakers are a very weird team to, kind of guess personally. This is my opinion on it. But did kind of want to update you guys on the Jalen Duren restricted free agency stuff. I guess Stu would have been involved in a Austin Reaves trade. But he's a Laker. He's a Laker now. But before we do end this podcast, we do have to hear from our sponsors over at the FanDuel Sportsbook. And we already got Rookie of the Year odds out. We just had the first night of the NBA draft. The first round was so entertaining to watch. But let's kind of go over these Rookie of the Year odds. So Cameron Boozer, you guys, odds on favorite to win Rookie of the Year at a plus 240 with the Memphis Grizzlies. And you have AJ DeBonsa and Darren Peterson both at a plus 400. Darius Acuff from the Sacramento Kings at a plus 450. Caleb Wilson with the Chicago Chicago Bulls at plus 950. Excuse me. I'm just thinking Chicago always sucks. So Chicago blows. My mind is just in 50 different directions right now. And then Mikal Brown Jr. with the Brooklyn Nets at a plus 1500. I will say, looking at this, I think Darius Acuff to me is kind of underrated in the sense. I might just throw like 10 on Darius because at a plus 450, I know Sacramento's going to be bad. He's going to get the looks. He's going to start. He's going to put up points. Like, to me, he could probably be Rookie of the Year. Maybe it's a little Detroit bias because I want to see him do well in Sacramento. I love the fit, love the buffs. His whole family was buffed up last night wearing the Cartiers. Absolutely love it. Just like one more thought before we do end the podcast. I know a lot of us are either Michigan State or Michigan fans, and we got to see Dusty May on the NBA draft broadcast. He was so happy when he got Merez Johnson to Dallas, but there's a meme going on. I'm sure you guys saw it if you guys are on social media, or maybe you saw it live on TV. I hope you guys know where I'm going with this. But when the Oklahoma City Thunder drafted Ade Mara, he looked so damn pissed. It kind of reminded you of the old like Chris Paul smiling in Steve Kerr's face and then like kind of changing his face walking away meme, if you guys know what I'm talking about. Like Dusty May was like, shit, like I have to deal with Ade Mara in Oklahoma City. I'm going to be the new head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. We're pretty undersized as it is. I got to deal with Chet Holmgren, Dave Mara, Thomas Sober. Like, oh my, Isaiah Hartenstein if they keep him. I don't even know. Like OKC is so big in the front court, but I saw that last night and I just died laughing. I was like, bro, like, what is going on with Dusty May? He's just like a little bit way too enthusiastic. But um, second night of the NBA draft starts at 8 tonight. Don't know if the Pistons are going to trade back up in the second round. I mean, you got Isaiah Evans, Malik Thomas. I mentioned the center out of North Carolina, Henry Vesser. Probably butchered his last name. Apologize, Henry. But those are the three guys that I'd probably be looking at if you're Detroit. I would love to come away with a Malik Thomas or Isaiah Evans, if I'm being completely honest. Both guys can just fill it up, get buckets, good 3-point shooters, but we'll wait. We'll have to wait and see what does happen with the draft. And I'll probably be watching, just scrolling on my phone. Maybe there's a trade. Maybe there's more podcasts tonight. But hope you guys do have a good rest of your night. We will talk real soon. And as always, go Pistons. Peace.